Hi, I'm Bert Sheffield, a Canadian Paralympic dressage rider and coach, and this is my Tokyo hopeful horse, Farusa, better known as Wonky Horse. We are going to do a series of videos about sitting trot with and without stirrups. In this first part, I'm going to talk about riding sitting trot without stirrups. I think it's really important to focus on riding while you don't have your stirrups rather than just surviving the experience. You will ride it much better if you let go of worrying about having no stirrups and actually get into the conversation with your horse and ride the horse as though you had stirrups. That's the stretch feeling that I want before I start to sit the trot. She's stretching into my rein. She's relaxed. She's starting to swing through her back. She's asking to stretch more and more, but she's not losing her balance. Some might say she's a little on the forehand, but as part of a warm-up, I don't have a problem with this stretch. There we go. This is the trot I need before I think about sitting. I'm going to take my stirrups away. I always take the stirrups off the saddle. I absolutely hate riding with the stirrups crossed over the front, because even if you pull the buckle away from the stirrup bar, you still always get a lump that digs into your thigh. Really important to get yourself comfortable in the saddle without your stirrups before you start working. You want your pelvis to be as level as you can. So if you imagine if you're wearing a belt, you'd want your belt to sit horizontal, not sloping down in front or down at the back. So it sits around the top of your pelvis, and that gives you a clue as to how level and neutral and in the middle your pelvis is. Then you've got room that your hips can rock backwards and forwards. They're not going to reach the extremities of their range of movement. You want to position your hips into the front of the saddle so you're not being pushed along by the cantle, and you want to have the feeling that your hips are able to be in a conversation with the horse's back. So while you're sitting the trot, each hip joint is going to have to go backwards and forwards, up and down, and side to side. I really like the analogy of having a back like a broomstick, and so your spine stays straight and relatively still, but your pelvis moves through these three planes of motion almost loose on that broomstick of your spine. So it's a bit like a normal yard broom that's a bit loose in its connection to the handle. You want that ability for the pelvis to be dissociated, to be moving separately from the spine. One of the things I think that's really, really important, once you've got some kind of balance riding without your stirrups, is to really make sure that you're not transferring your reliance from the stirrups onto your hand. So your horse can still work in self-carriage and you can still ride in self-carriage. You haven't taken a stronger contact to compensate for your lack of stirrups. The whole time I ride without stirrups, I keep evaluating how much weight I have in my hand and making sure I'm not starting to lean through my hand to keep my balance, because obviously that's not going to help you ride better. The first exercise I like to do when I take my stirrups off is a walking exercise. I like to plug my seat in to the horse's hind legs and really try to feel which hind leg is coming forward and landing under the horse's body, each one at a time. It's really useful if you've got someone on the ground who can so you can call which hind leg is coming forward and landing, and they can tell you whether you're right or not. Right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. I can feel it through my hips. I don't have to look at anything. And it really helps me to connect in with my seat bones. It's really important before I go into the sitting trot work. One of the really nice things about riding without stirrups is you can feel even quicker when the horse loses its balance. Your seat becomes even more fine-tuned to any balance issues. Feel even quicker when the horse starts to push out behind rather than carrying you. So you get your sense of rhythm gets more refined. Your sense of your own body and your own self-carriage of your own body becomes more refined. It's easier to tell when the horse is in self-carriage. You see, I keep every now and then giving on the inside rein, checking that my bend is true. I'm not holding it with the inside rein, checking that she is secure in my outside rein. And then after every few of those, I think about self-carriage on both reins. So push her forward into my outside rein. Half hold, so I just hold slightly. Hold through my leg a little bit as well. Good girl. Good girl. Give. She stays the same. Good. Give on the inside. She stays on my outside rein. Starting to hurry a little bit to come back. You might wonder why I click sometimes when I ask her to come back, because I'm asking for a little more engagement when she comes back, not her to just slow down. The more I ride without my stirrups today, the more she feels like she's becoming more balanced and more swingy. She's getting relaxed into me sitting into her back. And my seat is becoming more and more welded to the rails of the tree of my saddle. Of course, everything on one side, you need to check that it's still there on the other side. I can give my inside rein, she stays on my outside rein. Same as I would if I was riding with stirrups. I'm going to keep an eye on my self-carriage. I don't want her running out from under my seat. I want her staying on my seat. I want her stretching into the contact, but I want her carrying herself. So I want to be able to uber striking on the inside and her stay in balance and not running away, which on her is her challenge. Nothing changes apart from I give the inside rein. Same as though I was riding with stirrups. Same criteria to the work you do. On both. Find the balance. Give on both. Good girl. Ask her to come back a little. Give on the inside, good girl.